All right, y'all. Okay, let me go ahead and cut that short, even though that song is very enchanting. If y'all want to know who that artist is, that is Lorena McKennett. What's the name of that song? What is the name of that song? The Mystic's Dream. And I love that song. I know a lot of y'all black folk like, why she didn't play nobody black? Hey, when Erica Badu come out with her witchy album, y'all let me know and I'll play it. Okay, so but I wanted to get started with this discussion honestly because I have been busting at the seams just to talk about this and like just for weeks and weeks and just the misunderstanding and the confusion and I think that that confusion has been brought about possibly by fear, but then also the whole entertainment thing, uh that you and I'm going to make a suggestion that nobody allows people that are in entertainment to dictate your existence. Okay, so I want to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it because it's been getting on my nerve to the point where and I'm just going to get it out. And keep in mind, this is not in any way meant to berate anybody or to make anybody feel bad about themselves or to make people feel stupid. I'm just coming from a witch's perspective about sex magic and how that word, along with witchcraft, alchemy, and magic within itself, gets thrown around a lot. And too many people are relating sex magic to orgies and threesomes and odd behaviors, such as and I had spoke about it a little bit, but Spirit said go ahead and delve more into that when I talked about in my last live about the Saturn Mercury return. And when I bought up, P. Diddy's baby oil parties, that which as a woman, if you try to bring any baby oil near my private areas, I'll probably have a knee-jerk reaction of kicking you. Okay, like seriously, because you know that within itself. But I had seen somebody, it's saying that oh, I'm exposing him, he's having sex magic. And I wanted to break down those types of activities for you guys as far as what Sean Puffy Combs was doing. Even if he felt like it was a sex ritual, it is totally different from what us witches consider to be sex magic, which is, first of all, what comes first for us at the top is the sacred divine union of the male and the female and their synergy, which is rooted in love, right? And it doesn't matter if it kind of does matter though, but it doesn't matter if it's a situation like a third party situation. People ignorantly uh kind of think that way. However, I would say that the best sex magic partner would be somebody that is unattached to someone else. um, because that would actually make it very challenging. And so this is the reason why a lot of witches choose to um, stay celibate and connect with more of the divine masculine energy, as opposed to connecting to these men, because a lot of the men out there, they are not the best sex magic partners, because in order for you to really have successful sex magic that is either healing or assist with manifestation of things, uh because of religion, and the subconscious has to be healed and repaired, and the heart has to be healed and repaired, and just so that's why it's a lot of women, it's a lot of witches, it's very difficult to find a sex magic partner if you're going to have sex magic. And considering the fact that the actual natural act of sex between man and woman, she's receiving and he's not necessarily giving, but they are connecting on such a high, it should be, sex magic is supposed to be high frequency, to where the woman, she represents the water, she represents the earth, but then also she does represent the sun. She represents thought, intuition, and wisdom, and the man's primary core to his being is the sun, fire, the phallus symbol, swords, being protective, intellectual, but then also he represents the water and the earth as well. So this is a very sacred rite, to where it is preferred not just to have the higher consciousness connection and pure connection of purity when you're having sex magic, which isn't just related to the actual sex act itself. It's the whole day. It's how that man treats her, talks to her, and how they interact with each other. Okay. But the actual sexual act, that particular higher, which, if you're connected to the higher magic of sex magic, then the lower is going to automatically, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's going to automatically be a better vibration. Okay. Now, when you think about what we're seeing with the whole thing, with what people are doing, and they are having sex magic, and it's very weak, and typically it only benefits somebody else, because the sex magic that I see a lot of them having is rooted in possession, energy harvesting, that doesn't even really benefit either the couple or all of these, I guess, 10, 20 people that are having sex. When you look at it, it's comparable to the graping, trafficking of people, and it's in that energy. It's not in the correct energy that can even really benefit, because when Sean Puffy Combs, his energy is a puppet, a possessed puppet, empty cedar, that is gonna do time in prison, because he's under mind control by the slave system. So for me, don't even call that sex magic. In fact, that's not even magic at all. That's slavery. That's slavery, which is essentially what it is, which is why I do not suggest delving into BDSM and things of that nature. Keep it high. Keep the vibes high. Keep it pure, keep it royal, keep it connected, because and you know what, there's actually a photograph of the goddess of Venus, Aphrodite, right? I don't know if y'all have ever seen that painting of Aphrodite, right? And in this painting, there's just a bunch of naked people, and it looks like they're having sex. And so, how a lot of people relate Aphrodite, the way that they interpret her energy, is where, she kind of governs over these orgies and stuff, which in reality, that's not what Aphrodite is doing. But and I kind of don't like that artist and depiction of her. But I think what they were trying to convey is her presence, her inspiration, her energy, the connection to her during any type of sex magic that's pleasurable, or any kind of sex that's actually really pleasurable, not just the act of doing, but actually connecting to to what's going on, if y'all know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. uh and so what these people are doing with all this, and I'm not coming down on anybody, because I think that whatever your sexual orientation is, when it comes to either being heterosexual or either homosexual, because I don't leave out my gay brothers and sisters in my discussions. It's not about that. It's more so about the frequencies that the people are in. And it's not always like, what I see a lot of is people making assumptions about certain things and people based upon what they know about life in general, what they know about life in general. But so for example, what I mean by that is a man and a man, and two women can have just as powerful sex magic together, and they can even create balance within each other just as much as a heterosexual. By the way, guys, I'm heterosexual, but that, you know what I'm saying? So we're not going to make any assumptions or judgments, because that to me is something that is very frowned upon, and it should be. And the reason why is because the energy that comes with it. But you know um so a lot of people assume that when people that are gay are doing something gay, they're swinging from the chandeliers. And I can tell you that if I were gay, I would have one partner, and that's it. I wouldn't be swinging from the chandeliers. Okay, so that's not always the truth for everybody. So, but when you look at what they do, and you know, and just the energy that you get from it, like from what I get from it, which is why I'm so repelled and repulsed by when you're feeling that feeling that you get when you hear about some of the stuff that was discussed, especially during the trial, and this stuff being exposed for a reason, and it literally made my stomach turn. And the reason why is because those things are actually rooted in dysfunction and curses and this negative energy. That's just like the whole thing with his mother and the sexual relationship, uh and it's all based upon creation, because when because in because if you get two relatives, especially a brother and sister or mother and son, according to creation and nature, which is where it ultimately leads to, okay, you're going to produce morbid offspring, which is what nature is going to look at. And so when it comes to sex magic, you are either going to be having sex magic, and you can have it at any age. It doesn't die just because you hit the age of 40 or 50. Okay. You can have sex magic at any age, but typically what man and woman is going to produce would be a baby, which, I've talked about this a lot, about how, in particular, the sun gods, but then also the moon goddess, when that child is created, there is a lot of blessings that is bestowed upon that situation, that typically a lot of us, the blessings got stolen. Remember, I used to talk about that a lot. Well, I'm going to bring that up again. So the type of sexual things that you see a lot of these people doing, especially a lot of them that are in Hollywood, is rooted in this um sexual energy of captivity, um, and early colonization and trafficking, and just downright perversion, a perverted version of what it was supposed to be. It's almost like mainlining energy or something. So it's mainly and primarily about energy. And we all know that it's about energy, but then again, on the flip side, it's an oxymoron. It's not about energy, because when you're taking and siphoning someone else's energy that is not your own, when you're doing that, that energy is foreign. So you can do that to the masses, and I guess become very rich and wealthy by, you know what I'm saying? But some of the these sex magic things that they are doing, it's highly frowned upon, and it is based in lower frequency sex magic, which does come with a lot of negative karma, sickness, disease, STDs, depression, anxiety, and then also a disconnection from self. Okay. So real authentic sex magic that actually holds power is not going to have you sitting in front of a group of people, or either the world saying that, yeah, I was practicing that witchcraft. I was delving into the occult, and I was doing some things that I am ashamed of, and I didn't even know who I was. See, that's not sex magic per se. It's more so, really, as a friend of mine said today, an illusion of sex magic. It's an illusion of it. It's so, and like I said, um going back to that third party thing, it's happening a lot. And when it comes to third party things, it doesn't and I'm not even talking about a threesome. I'm just talking about a third party dynamic. And a lot of my peeps that are watching this know is like, as far as like what I'm talking about, as far as, because some of my clients are dealing with third party situations. Okay. And when you're manifesting, as long as the masculine and the feminine has what it takes, and their thought processes and their intentions are the same. See, you want, it's very intentional. If you're dealing with, like, for example, if you're dealing with a male that wants to oppress, that wants to hurt, that wants to harm, that wants to humiliate and berate the divine feminine, then you probably won't get any results out of that. But if your divine masculine has an intention of enriching your soul, healing your soul, and you know what, sometimes with a lot of y'all women, it's not even anything that they're intentionally doing. A lot of them are taught to stay under possession and mind control. So sometimes, you got to get to the bigger picture and the hierarchy of what is causing that man to be that way, because it's not of really any benefit to him or you for him to even be in that energy. In fact, what they're trying to teach us is to conquer each other sexually, which is a mistake. Since it's slim pickings out there, a lot of us don't have a choice but to kind of play that game a little bit. It's a survival thing. Okay. Like I was saying, whenever this bull crap, patriarchy crap kicked in and totally destroyed the divinity of the man and the woman together and their power amongst each other, witches and women would go to witches because they didn't have a choice but to stay with this man that was beating them and harming them. And they couldn't leave them, because if they left, the whole community would judge them and shun them. Okay. So what y'all are seeing is really essentially the opposite of sex magic, because it used to be where, and again, a lot of witches are being paired up with religious men, which is okay too. It depends on how open his mind is, and whether or not he accepts that he's dealing with a witch. Okay. Right. Hold on, y'all. Right, Unicali. Hold on a second, because goodness great. Oh. Ooh. Hold on, y'all. Okay. So I kind of got thrown off as to where I was with this discussion. It's very difficult for witches to find someone that is not trying to oppress, and even sometimes mangle and tear down the divine feminine, the woman, which is why a lot of women essentially, they just, they kind of choose to just do their sex magic by themselves, and not just women, a lot of men, you know what I'm saying? Because, that's rare, because I'm sorry, but, religion, its main proponent is everybody being under the kings that wrote the Bible, that and the kings that wanted to keep us trapped in that. That is where that's rooted in. So it's essentially not the preferred higher level of sex magic, more so the lower level, which brings about struggle, which brings about a lot of strife, a lot of confusion. Okay. And a lot of pain and suffering. Okay, a lot of pain and suffering. So, and that's exactly what Sean Puffy Combs represents. And you know what? A lot of those people that are dealing with that, and a lot of people are stuck in this constant cycle of that they cannot get out of. Okay. So I wouldn't say what they're doing is sex magic. I would say it's more so death and destruction to themselves or to others. Okay, I'm not going to get into anything about what about my opinion and my uh theory, my scientific and alchemical theory of religion, because it triggers people, and I'm not here to do this. I've said it before. I'm not going to say it again because I'm not going to do it, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Because honestly, once you've said something once or twice or three, four times, 10 times, if people are meant to have a have an understanding of what you're saying, they will they will understand it eventually. If not, they just won't. So it's no need in me dredging that up. But I will tell you that um and this is what I was talking about with with the spirits of the South in particular. Why you see so many of the issues and problems with, like, spiritual confusion and chaos, and self-destruction and drama and chaos and degradation, and because those spirits are very thick here, to where if you are a person that has stepped outside of that box, or either is meant to, they coming for you, they gunning from you for you. If you don't have the proper protections put up, they coming for you. Whether or not it's gonna come through another person or just in the air, in the ether, because the ether is the air. It's in the air, it's in the water, unless you know how to filter it. And that's another thing I'm gonna talk to y'all about, because I see a lot of people talking about, is the sun real? Uh, yeah, it's very real. The sun and the moon. I can tell. Now I can't stare into the sun, obviously, although I've glanced into it, and it's very healing for the third eye to do that for just a second. Don't do it for longer, and definitely not during a solar eclipse. But I know the moon is real, because if I go out there right now and stare at the, well, when it gets dark, if I go out there and stare into the moon, it's gonna start moving and vibrating. Okay. Every single time I go and do any moon gazing and recharging, she starts moving around, jumping around, bouncing around. Okay. And so it's very real, but it's how you're interpreting it. Okay. It's pretty much your frequency and how your third eye, your heart chakra, just your senses are connecting to it. So the sun is not changed at all. What it is that people's perception has changed because of how um, we have been fed so much of the artificial and the illusionary, you know, the illusion, just the illusion. You know what I'm saying? The illusions that they want us under. So So yeah, I've been wanting to come and talk about that for the longest time, because and it's not being uppity, it's not, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I can already tell by looking at people like Puff Daddy. He's not actually, he's one of those types of males that can have sex with 100 women in one day, and he ain't gonna feel nothing. He ain't really getting no pleasure from it. In fact, men that bounce around like that, the reason why they bounce and they have sex with so many different women is because they can't find that satisfaction. And it's because they not right. They're not connected. They're disconnected. And then even possessed, under possession. And a lot of their crowns are closed off. A lot of their powers are closed off, and they're disconnected. So that's why they have to, they think that they're going to eventually, it's going to lead them to some kind of satisfaction. And I believe that that was the same thing that happened with King Solomon. Okay. And I believe that one of those seers told him that too. And I believe that was one of the ones that he fell in love with. One of his because King Solomon, during his reign, he actually had several relationships with witches, different types, gypsies, American, different types. And he was told that, you're with so many different women. And I believe he may have even had a non-sexual relationship with that one. He just wanted to keep her around because he realized that, having all these concubines and wives, this is, this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? But they're not gonna tell you that. They're not gonna tell you that because that would be giving you, giving men way too much power. To tell them that. So, but yeah, and yeah, they zombies. They zombies exactly. So, really, the only way to be really sure that you are actually having sex magic, I'd say that you have to be purified of the religious teachings. Number one, it has to be a couple they have had a meeting of the mind. They both understand the higher as well as the lower, uh, frequencies, which would be delta, possibly gamma. Higher would be alpha. What they doing is below delta. That's like what sex magic is not supposed to lead to an infection from having baby oil going up your cooch or your butt. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because that's think about it. If you've truly had sex magic, it's not supposed to be any discomfort. That's uncomfortable. Can you imagine just rubbing some baby oil down there? Hell, if he was, I would kind of halfway believe in what he was talking about if it was olive oil. Olive oil is actually, if you're into oils, that would be what you would use, not baby oil. Like, it's just obvious, but they, you know what I'm saying? So it, like I said, in order for sex magic to be there, you have to have the man and the woman on the same page with equal goals or manifestations in mind. And the mind has to be free. The mind cannot be thinking about worry and stress. The minds cannot have fear, loathing, and distractions. The minds have to be clear, and see, those are the best orgasms. Those are the best ones because you're not just connected to those higher frequencies and healing powers. You become those higher frequencies. Okay, you become it. It becomes you. in that moment, do through the whole thing, through the whole thing. Okay, from start to finish. you know, right? Willy Wonka in the shit factory, exactly. Oh my god. Oh my goodness gracious. In fact, he's being thrown out of the black community mostly because he just made a lot of black folks sick. A lot of people that know they can't stand P. Diddy. And a lot of that stuff that they do is benefiting someone else. It's maybe it may not even be a person, but an entity that's feeding off of that lower vibrational sex, which as a witch, I'm triggered, I'm insulted because they keep trying to compare it to witchcraft. No, witchcraft is being gatekept, being possessed and fed upon by lower vibrational entities. And I'm not talking about the Goesha. I'm talking about most of these entities are of unknown origin. That ain't magic, and that ain't witchcraft. So that's why as a indigenous woman, I've been pulling away drastically from a lot of that culture because in some of the music. Now that one song by As Yet called Last Night, now that, my friend, is the closest to a R&B song. I wonder if I got that in my archives. I don't. Y'all listen to that song, y'all, called Last Night by As Yet. Okay. But then there was a lot of people that had that frequency that I'm talking about, the higher frequency, believe it or not, H-Town boys. And they had to hurry up and get rid of Dino. Rest in peace, Dino. They had to hurry up and get rid of him because Dino was way too um he just was he didn't go along his frequencies didn't go along with that with what they wanted. Because what they want is a man beating down on the woman, taking her power instead of enriching her power and healing himself and her at the same time. They want to beat down, the smack down, keep your pimp hand strong. That's what they want. Okay, yeah, that's Parasite Festa, yeah, or Fiesta. Oh, goodness gracious. But that's why I was telling y'all, even in my youth, I never wanted to be in a rap video. It was something that repulsed me from it. I'm not trying to judge nobody that has been. Get your money, but for me, it's something that, no, I just wouldn't do it. Okay. So, but it is rap songs that I like, that carry certain frequencies that are cool. You know what I'm saying? That they'll call it magic, but what it is really treason. it's it's treason, to our ancestors and the divine mother. It's treason. It's betrayal. It's betrayal. Because what they want to do is lock down your energy, connect, and then parasite off of you is what essentially, a lot of them want to do, you know, and it's early. It's the act of early colonization, and the graping of the indigenous people. You know what I'm saying? And not just the indigenous people, but hell, they always should have hell. White women got treated bad like that too. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't speaking negatively about all white men, because there's a lot of white men that acknowledge that. You know, I ain't never had no. I don't think I've ever experienced a white man thumping a Bible at me. No, 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 sir, no, sir. Okay, yeah, no, don't you dare. But they got plenty of black men to do that. So, and that's why you see them all out here doing the fool. So, that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I hope y'all enjoyed this discussion. Again, hit that thumbs up. It helps with my algorithm. I hope I broke it down. Most of what I say though is misunderstood, but I think if you listen to what I just said again, then you'll understand. Okay, then you'll understand exactly what I was saying. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here. I'll see y'all later. Okay. Blessings to y'all. Bye-bye.